Like, if you want to get against the wall, that's fine.
Present are the candidates for commission. The candidate forums are a long-standing tradition of the League of Women Voters, whose guiding principle is its belief that democratic government depends upon the informed and active participation of its citizens. The forum benefits both the people and the public has the opportunity to question as the candidates to answer their stand on issues. We would like to protect the forums because we cannot support those who are running a legal or not. The most basic of the ground rules is that no direct questioning of the audience will be permitted. As you enter, each of you will often provide a card in which to write a question for one or all of the candidates. When you bring your question, please motion to the usher who will take your card and deliver it to the moderator. Our ushers tonight are Anne-Marie, Jean, Dorothy, Linda, and myself. And if you need additional cards, you can just motion to one of the ladies and they will bring it up to the moderator. Before the questioning begins and by way of introduction, each candidate will be given 2 minutes in which to answer the question, why are you running for this office? And after opening statement, questioning will begin. Candidates have 2 minutes to respond, and at the end of the evening, each candidate will have 3 minutes for the summation. Our timekeeper, Sandy Stevenson, will signal the time remaining and the cutoff for each candidate's response. It is now time to turn the evening over to our moderator, Ray Rapp, who will introduce the candidates and begin the questions.
Thank you, Lila, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for sponsoring these forums. I think it's important that we learn firsthand from the candidates, not through literature, not through ads, that type of thing, but face-to-face with our candidates, what their positions are on the issues. And I want to say thank you to each candidate before you for taking the time to come before us and discuss their positions. Because folks, I can tell you, having one time been on the other side of this, it's a very stressful situation for them. So it would be a lot easier to say, oh, I'm not feeling too well tonight. And I think any of us who have been in that role understand to Mr. Cantrell.
The first question, you just want us to tell about it.
Yes, sir, why you're running. And would you hand him the microphone? Yes, we're going to pass that up and down. It's on. See if that works. We're going to do a check.
Can you hear me? Yes, thank you. My name is Bill Briggs. I'm a current county commissioner in Madison County. I'm running for re-election. First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for having this. of nice group of people that like me, I cannot take your time. I appreciate each and every person for being here. I'm born and reared in Madison County. Graduated from Mars Hill High School and graduated from Lake City Community College and Forest Technology, and graduated from Mars Hill College and University of Virginia. I'm married to Jane Briggs. She's here tonight. I appreciate her coming out and supporting me. I have a couple of grown children, Lydia and Will. And my work history is, I've done lots of different things in my time. First of all, I worked as a truck driver, as a delivery man, and a salesman for Silver's Mill. That goes back a long time. I had to go out and make the sales and deliver at the same time. The next thing I did was surveying work. Assistant survey crew, did surveying both in Madison County, West County, worked for Kaufman Brothers in Madison. I owned and operated a fish station in Mars Hill.
Just don't worry about
it.
Is it over my head?
I worked for the North Carolina
most of it
Department
is.
of Revenue for 20 years,
That's a minute.
collecting taxes, and 3 of these years was a drug tax collection, which was very good. But the best part of my days in employment was 8 years as clerk of court in Madison County. I thoroughly enjoyed being clerk of court. I tried to help people, and I did help people. I cut through the red tape, I saved them time and money, and I helped them regardless of their political affiliation. I took this as a job, not as a position, and I enjoy helping people, and I still would. I just want to say I'm a member of Calvary Baptist Church. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Briggs. Mr. Cantrell.
My name is Gene Cantrell. I'm sure you can see the sign, but that's my name, Gene Cantrell. I don't know why I got this special. Please remember that. I don't know. As an educator, I've got a handout. The handout is in the back. On the first side of the page, it tells who I am, and I'm not going to bore you with what I say. On the back page, it tells you what I stand for. And the 3 issues that I'm really concerned about is adequate funding for their education. We've got to invest in our kids. The next thing we need to do is get a high-speed internet. That's all that. Lo and behold, Yancey County was wired, and I know how much it costs. But we've got to do that. And then the other thing that I want to do is we've got to work on the landfill fee. So those are just 3 issues that you need to think about, and there's a lot of other issues, but read my handout. That's it, thank you.
Ms. Frank.
Well, we'll talk out of each side on that. My forum advisor said, don't try to be a comedian, just answer the questions. So, my name is Pat Franklin. I was born and raised in Madison County. Liv Roberts and Bill Roberts were my parents. My sister, Billy Lynn, who's deceased, was the secretary at the daycare centers, and a lot of you may remember her. And my brother McCray and I were all raised on a tobacco and dairy farm. I got married to get out of the dairy barn. I don't know if that's a good decision or not, but don't hold me to it now. My family settled here before the Civil War, and from them I've learned I learned to value God and to value family, to value hard work, and to value public service. And I do believe that we're responsible for each other. I always have, and that's the way I was taught growing up. I have 2 children, Beth and Bobby. Beth is a nurse. She's at the VA hospital now, but she used to be at Mission. And her husband, Jeff, was the fireman of the year for the state of North Carolina. And I was responsible for that. My son Bobby's a fashion photographer, and his wife's a pharmacist. I have 4 grandchildren, and they're really smart and pretty. And I have a foster baby that's 20 months old who's been just a joy. And she's not just been a joy to me, but she's been a joy to all of you that's met her. And the first job I ever had was milking cows, and then I went from that to grading tomatoes at the tomato shed, and from that to a teacher's aide at Laurel School, and then a dental assistant down in Hot Springs. And I was the secretary to the draft board during Vietnam. Forget that. But after, in 1975, I became the director of the Madison County Child Support Enforcement Agency, and I held that job for 39 years. And that's all I have to say.
Mr. Chen.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Norris Gentry, and I'm a lifelong resident of Madison County. I did live away for a few years, Air Force veteran. Spent most of my life in the public schools and really enjoyed that. I believe that any of us who seek an office like this, we have to be truly committed to working together and working with you. That's how we improve the county. And all of us have, I think, very good goals, but let me just give you a couple of them that are mine, and I think everyone else up here too. We really need to improve the economic opportunities of our folks here in Madison County. That's a diverse subject, it's complicated, we all have to work at that together. We have 6,000 people every day that commute out of this county to Buncombe County to work, and thank God they can. But that's an area we need to work on. We clearly have to support quality education, kindergarten through Mars Hill University, and right here with a partnership with public schools and AV Tech. We need to continue to have excellent public safety and health, for which we do in this county. And we need to work toward a more just pay plan and compensation for our hardworking county employees, many of whom are desperately underemployed. Another special interest of mine is Veterans Affairs. We have 1,800 veterans in this county, and we do not have a Veterans Affairs officer. Our veterans, their families, and those of you in this room deserve to have our veterans have the same level of service that other counties in this state have. I want to thank the League of Women Voters, I want to thank Ray, and I especially want to thank all of you for coming out tonight and helping us engage in this process. Thank you.
Next.
My name's Clayton Rice. I would also like to thank the League Women Voters for putting this on. Ray, thank you for being the moderator. I'm a resident of Madison County for 57 years. Been here for almost my entire life. I grew up on a farm in Gunnertown. My parents, the late Ward and Edith Rice, we had a little country store over there, and that was my first introduction to real relations with people, working in that store and figuring out how to run the operation. I'd like to thank my wife Sandra for being here tonight, our son Adam, and our wonderful daughter-in-law Autumn. Our other son is out of town and cannot be here tonight. My wife is a school teacher in Buncombe County. She's been doing it for about 29 years. So when those education questions come along, I've probably got a couple of answers for you. She's helped me with over the years. In 1979, I graduated from Mars Hill College, Mars Hill University now, Ray, with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration. In November of 1979, I went to work for Wachovia Bank. Worked there for 25 years. Wonderful company, loved it. Long story short, the company got sold, merged, whatever. The job was eliminated. I now work for Champion Credit Union. I'm running because I want to make sure that all the citizens of Madison County have a voice and someone they can turn to assist them in any way possible. And if elected, I promise to be that voice and to be that ear when you need someone to talk to. I've never been in politics before, but if elected, I promise, the ones of you who know me in the room, I promise to give you 120% of my time. And appreciate you being here tonight.
And Mr. Sigmund.
Thank you. I'm Jesse Sigmund. I'm married. I have 5 children. Very proud of them. 2 of them went to school here in Madison County. They have university degrees, and I can assure you that this school system works. A lot of people have criticism for us, and I'm proud of Madison County school systems. Graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill with a degree in industrial relations. Believe it or not, folks, not just a basketball school, you have to study, and it's not really easy. I'm proud of it. It's been 25 years in State Revenue Department enforcing and collecting taxes. I didn't really like that, but it's necessary. So people that don't like taxes, unfortunately, it is necessary for our way of life. I want to tell you people, our founding fathers made some beautiful statements. They used the words, we the people, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I'm so proud to see you out here tonight because with you, we can make government successful. And it's people like you that decide these elections and keep our country in the right direction. What I'm all about is quality of life for every citizen in Madison County. And it's going to be tough because our budget's really stressed. We don't have a very good economic base, and there's some hard choices. But I think we can get in the right direction by trying to recruit industry. And I don't mean just say, let's just do this. I mean, we have to have a plan. We have to have a director that's out there that understands business. I mean, we need people who are like past chief operating officers or chief financial officers, somebody that can talk to the corporations at the highest level and sell them on Madison County. I mean, folks, you know, we've got some beautiful things to sell here. On top of that, we've got to make sure that our workforce is truly educated so that the people come up here and say, we've got some good workers. They're honest, conscientious, well-educated people. That's how you get employers in here. You've got to sell us for what we are. Getting back to Pat over there, I've milked a few cows in my life too, and I didn't like it at all. My daddy was a brick mason, and I was one of 10 children, and I grew up laying brick. That's how I put myself through college. And I've had other jobs besides revenue. I've sold building supplies, and I've seen the economy go down. I know how construction earns a living. There's a lot of jobs out there, and those dollars are hard. They're hard to earn. And I think accountability in government is really one of my key things. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll now go into the questions, and we will begin with Mr. Cantrell. Even though that's the smallest sign, you get to be first of the question. You hold that up. Probably the question that has the most number of cards involves economic development. So I'll try to put basically they all ask the same question. What are your specific, and they're asking for specific plans for economic development in Madison County, and how might you use or improve the economic development board?
Good question. It's got simple answers. In order to have economic development in the county, you have to have a good education system, period. The first thing industry people ask is, how good are the schools? If they're not any good, then the person you're is private school. Education is an investment. We have to invest in education. Number 2, we have to have infrastructure. We have to have water and sewer, basic. And we have to have internet, fast speed internet, basic. Yancey County has completely wired, high-speed internet. Costs $23 million. They got federal funds to do it. We don't have any of that. We've got to get that. And then we've got to set our priorities. We need to get someone that knows what they're doing to help bring the industry in. We've got all these good things going for us. And we just need to capitalize on those and let people know what we've got. And remember, education and infrastructure. We've got to have that, and we don't have it. And if the industry had a choice of going to Madison County or Yancey County, they've got plenty of water, sewer, they've got high-speed internet, and I don't know about the schools. But we can't compete with them when we don't have internet and adequate water sewer system. We need to work on that, and my position is the county needs to help in the water sewer if help is needed. And I know Hot Springs said they need to upgrade their water sewer, and the county needs to help them do that.
Thank you. Ms. Franklin.
Ever since I was a little girl, of question has been, you know, what are we gonna do to get jobs to Madison County?
Well,
Ever since I was a little girl, the question has always been, what are we gonna do to get industry and jobs to Madison County? I never thought about us being a tourist destination. I knew we lived in the prettiest place in the world, but I think that for us to excel, that we need to build on what we already have, and what we already have, of course, is the mountains and the river and the hot springs. You know, we live in a beautiful place, and people love to come here and spend the weekend and spend some money. The other thing that I think that we need to be concerned about is, as Jean said, education. The early college program at Madison High is outstanding. I think it's time that we bring the technical side up to that same level, so that kids that don't want to go to college can come out of Madison High School and go on to AB Tech and learn welding or carpentry or electrical engineering, whatever, because that's where the jobs are. We're not going to be without, we're always going to need those kind of people, and they make good money too. The other thing, as Jean said, is the water sewer. I think, Pat, Jean on the back. The water and sewer. Marshall has sewer, Mars Hill has water. And if some way we can run those up and down 213, we'd open up a whole quarter of small business, all kinds of roads and avenues would open up if we had those things available to us. So, good job, Jean.
Mr. Gentry.
Good job, both of you. And what makes me feel good is this is a subject I think we all agree on. Now the question is how we do it. I think we do it by very deliberately planning what we do and working with the partners. We have Land of the Sky Regional Council. We have the larger Chamber of Commerces that are more than happy to help us. We have the very, very good fortune of being married to AB Tech. 29,000 students, folks. One of the largest community colleges in the country with one of the most diverse training programs. And Pat is 100% right, and so is Jean. We can strengthen the technical vocational education aspect in our high school, our apprenticeship programs that have been there for over 25 years. And those skilled trades married with better job opportunities here are the best ways to improve the standard of living for everyone. And we all have to work together on that. We need input from everybody. But we first start by identifying what our primary goals are and involving the community in that. This community, folks, is going to dramatically change in the next 25 years. There is a tsunami at the county line. Anybody who's aware of the growth and development of Nashville, Buckman, Henderson County, it's going to be coming our way. We need to know how to manage that. We need to be part of what happens. And I think we all want to be part of what happens. If we are, we can control our own destiny. But we cannot sit back anymore and just idly wait for it to happen. It will happen with our input and with our direction, or it will happen over us. And that's why we've all got to work together. And this is a great subject where we all agree. Now the effort's going to be, let us come together to make that work.
Mr. Rice.
Thank you. I'm 57 years old, and I've heard this topic tossed around like a ping pong ball for most of my life. I remember the days when we had microswitch, we had Derringer operated at 100%. We had a little company down in Hot Springs called Blue Ridge Shoe that paid a lot of bills at my house. My mom and dad both worked there. And if we could get back to that's the kind of thing that we need. But we can't just sit around and talk about it. The first thing we've got to have, we can have the best plans in the world, but the first thing we've got to have is you got to have a leader. You got to have somebody who understands this, who thinks it breathes it 24/7. Not somebody that's doing this part-time, just sort of, you know, showing up and most days and getting their pay and going back home. Every month, we have an economic development meeting with the board. And the question, Ray, I think about the board specifically. My plan would be to thoroughly review that board. Tonight I couldn't tell you who's on there. But thoroughly review that board, see who's there, see who has a real interest in being there, see who has ideas, see who wants to continue to participate, go out into the community. We got some really smart people in Madison County, really smart people that can solve this riddle if we get after it. But if we just talk about it, have a forum, everybody's trying to get elected, everybody wants to say nice, pretty things, that's okay. But I'm about where the rubber meets the road, and that's how I feel about economic development. Thank you.
Mr. Sigler.
I wholeheartedly concur with what Clayton had to say. It's a matter of leadership. We need to revamp that board, and whoever we hire, we need to make sure that they understand to tie in with the Chamber of Commerce at the state level and see how this is done. We're not the only county that's hurting for jobs, but other people are securing them. I mean, Yancey County's got employment, Buncombe County's got employment. It can happen. I don't think we've plugged in to what the resources we have, which is state government. They understand what's going on. They can help whoever our leader is. They can teach him the principles of how to go about this, and then we can sell our community. Now, there's a broader brush you're hitting the landscape. I think people need to understand that our tax system over the past has inhibited us terribly in job recruitment. I mean, as being in taxes, our income tax is 7%. Currently, you go across the line to Tennessee and look at the gas prices over there. You go down to South Carolina, look at the gas prices there. I mean, it's prohibitive. Nobody wants to come into a county that's taxed like North Carolina. At one point, 15 years ago, in the 13-state region, we were #1 in almost all the tax schedules we have on the book. So I think right now, with the tax cuts that's already happening by the legislature down there, our business environment is much more conducive to getting something up here. So I think with the tax situation going down, businesses looking at our state now from that standpoint, and getting the proper leadership that can get into Raleigh and get educated on how you go about it. We need the right person to go down there, learn what he's doing, come back and sell Madison County and improve it. This is a hard question, just like Clayton says, it's been going on forever. Can be done in the right way. Thank you.
Mr. Briggs.
You're right when they say infrastructure. That's the first thing you've got to have, water and sewer. You've also got to have incentives. We've got a county attorney that can direct us in that way. You can't give them a tax break per se, but you can, there's incentives to draw business. But the thing that we really need is an economic and development board that and that people that know other people. I mean, if I was on the board, I don't know. But I've tried, just to give you an example, I've tried for 4 years to get a single person, sitting on the board, and he knows more people and he's had more contacts than lots of people. We've got to go forward, but we need a board that has connections and knows other people and other companies, and they can go out and talk to these people and bring them in. We don't have much to offer unless we can give them some incentive to come. And I hope that if the election turns out right, we can, for example, the economic development board to where it will be. But give them credit. You know, if you don't have this infrastructure that's spoken by each person here, then there's not much reason for businesses to come. And we need small businesses in this county to bring in the sales tax. There are 2 ways to go in raising revenue in Madison County. That's either raise the taxes or have businesses, retail businesses. That's where the sales tax, that will come into the county and give us more willing to do more of this thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brennan, we get the first question and then our next go around. The second most frequently asked question involves fracking. And to summarize the questions, do you oppose fracking in Madison County, Western North Carolina, and the state of North Carolina? That brings them all together.
That is an easy question. I oppose fracking anywhere until somebody can prove to us that it's not harmful to the environment, and I don't honestly think they're gonna be able to do that. So, no, I'm opposed to fracking.
Again, for me, that's a very simple answer, folks. As Pat said, the scientific research is all, not at all convincing. In fact, it's the other way. And I would be very strongly opposed to it here. And I would also support efforts across the state to restrict it. In eastern North Carolina, there is some potential, and the potential, though, for the little bit of energy that would come from it versus the long-term serious environmental damage. Now, I know several of you in this room have different views on this. I only encourage you to really do your research. And if you do that research, you're going to find that fracking is a ticking time bomb. And what little we get out of it for what the potential long-term damage to this country is, but you check it out for yourself. And I think when you check all the facts, you're going to be like me and Pat. Fracking is a bad idea.
Mr. Rice.
Thank you. I oppose fracking anywhere on the face of the earth. Anybody who could have voted for that, must be taking something I've never taken. I just don't understand how people could vote to do that to the earth. There's no way. The risks are huge. The rewards are few. You're going to get, the stories I've read, Norris and I've done quite a bit of research also, you're going to get very little natural gas at the end of the day. And you know what we're going to do when we get that and put it in that bottle? Probably one bottle. You know what we're going to do with that? We're going to export it. We're going to send it away from here. Now, boy, that makes a lot of sense. Us local people, they should have asked us first. We could have solved that problem real quick. So, no, not no, but no.
Mr. Sibley.
I definitely am not in favor of fracking here in Madison County, and being a county commissioner, I'm not going to voice an opinion on what the other counties want to do or the state wants to do. I want to look after my own home county. But the little bit of reading I have done on the subject, what being told is that the fracking is not a problem. It's the well construction that's a problem. Well, to me, that's like saying, boy, flying's okay, but the integrity of the airplane's not much. So that's not the way I feel about fracking in Madison County.
Mr. Briggs.
I'm not in favor of fracking in Madison County and in western North Carolina. I can't talk to the other counties of the state. They can make up their own minds. Can I talk a little bit about the voting machine, the question involved?
I don't have one here, but, you know, it's your 2 minutes.
Yeah, I've got 2 minutes. I want to speak about the new voting machines. We're supposed to have new voting machines, and that's one of the accomplishments of this commissioner's board at this time. We spent $880,000+ to buy these new voting machines. According to state law, they can't be put into this for this upcoming election. They have to be tried out for election before they can be used. So what we're doing this time, the machine is going to be located, the new machine, the new election machine, this voting machine is going to be located at the early voting here in Marshall. So if you all, this is kind of a public service this machine is what all the counties around us. And all we're doing is to start with, I want you to take this home. Why are you having to invest in new machines when we should have had this machine started? I want you to think about this question.
No. I would like to go back to the education issue. Pat was talking about the upper end of education. Can you hear me? Education starts at 4-year-old level. We do not have a 4-year-old program in the county. And a lot of our kids come to school that are so far behind and it takes so long to catch up. So we need to invest in the 4-year-old program. We need to set our priorities and take care of the kids. Education is the key.
Now, I had a look from a couple of the members of the league, so I'm going to have to put a cautionary note out here. You will be asked to address the questions asked, not, you will have a summary time at the end of the questioning where if any points that have not been raised that you think need to be included, you have that, you'll have that opportunity at the end. So that was the moderator's fault for letting that go, and I said I apologize for that, but together we'll make this work, and you will have time at the end to include any remarks.
Is there someone here who'd like to address the issue that Mr. Berger brought up about voting machines?
Yes, that,
Be fair.
I think if you would like to. In fairness. Say thank you.
Public service announcement. A chance to vote on the new machine this election.
Mr. Gentry, you get the next question. And there are several people here are interested in ways the county might be able to generate more revenue from, one, back taxes, review of the landfill and garbage fees, and perhaps a tax on rafting companies. I combined these into a tax question, but let me just repeat that again for everyone. Ways you would be able to generate more revenue, and beginning with what might be done regarding back taxes, landfill and garbage fees, perhaps a tax on rafting companies. Those were the specific ones that were addressed in the questions. Mr. Gentry, if you choose to begin.
Thank you, Ray. It took 2 minutes to ask the question, so I'll hustle through them very quickly. Clearly, everybody who owes taxes should pay taxes. That's been improved last year. We went from the 90 and change to 94 and change. Can everybody hear me about this thing? Would be. Everybody who does pay taxes deserves that everybody else pays taxes. That, I think we're all in agreement on. Enforcement is the key. We started down that. We need to continue enforcing, collecting back taxes. Landfill is expensive. That whole issue needs to be reviewed from recycling to the cost. That's got something that's got to be done. I think I would be very much in favor of a review of the landfill as we're doing. What can we do to improve that? In terms of a rafting tax or other tourist-related, tourist use taxes, I think we should do what other counties in western North Carolina do, and those funds should then go to help the fire departments, the rescue folks, many of whom have to go into the river to pull these folks out when there's trouble. All of these folks need help, the training and the cost involved in that. Somebody's paying for that, and the folks who are paying for it are largely the folks not using the river. And we don't want to be unfair, but I think we need to take a look at that and do what the other counties in western North Carolina are doing. Our river is a great resource. I love to have people come and use it, but it's not a matter of collecting a tax from somebody, folks. It's a service fee. These people, and we have to protect them when we're here. And those funds need to go back to help those people who are doing that now. The development of small businesses everything that we can do in this county to keep dollars in this county. Sales tax, folks, we rank very, very low in the state as retaining sales tax against our incomes. We drive through Vegas, and what we do, we stop. We have really got to address the development of businesses in Madison County where we can and will spend our money here, and that's how we build that part of the sales tax. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to begin by congratulating the tax office. I see Brenda sitting out there. Brenda, y'all doing an excellent job. I think you've moved the needle up on that to about 94% collection rate. Congratulations to you, Lori, and Mike, and other staff members. Y'all doing a great job with that. We're still, not to pick on you, Brenda, but we're still just a little bit below the state average. State average is 97%. If we move that needle 3 more percent, that's going to be roughly $300,000 in additional revenue to our county. And we need to get that done. And they're working real hard to make that happen. I know, and it's not just real estate tax, it's vehicle tax and all the other things. There's just a lot of garbage that these folks have to go through. People crushing cars and not making them aware that the cars are being crushed, or trying to collect taxes on a fresh car, maybe on 6 months or a year. So that's a big issue. But our folks are doing a good job, and I expect that will only get better. Disposal fee, I would like to figure out a way to at least begin to reduce that. I've been out, I've talked to the citizens of our county. Folks feel that this is a double taxation. They pay their taxes, then they turn around and have to pay a disposal fee. And bear in mind, if you don't pay your taxes, if you're in that 6% that's not paying your taxes, you're not paying your disposal fee either. So I think we all understand the simple math on that and why that is so important that we do get that collected. As far as the tax on the rafting companies or any type of entertainment, I have a scanner at my house. I hear the calls going out all over the county. That's costing the taxpayers of Madison County money. Maybe we do need to consider some type of entertainment tax, because it's certainly costing you taxpayers money anytime you see those ambulances roll. And that's really not a political issue, that's just the facts. And I agree with Nora's small businesses. If we can create more and additional small businesses, that's going to create some sales tax revenue, which will certainly assist us in growing revenue.
Mr. Seaton.
I'm not in favor of raising taxes at all, because at this point in time, I feel like businesses, they have a tax burden. When you get down to the individuals, between the state, the federal, and the hidden taxes from the state that you don't know about, the excise tax and all, we pay a lot of money out front. I think we can make do with what we have. The secret to raising the revenue, in my mind, just goes right directly back to economic development. If we get some more industry in here, bring in more people, and increase our tax base, we've got more tax base, we can do the things we need. So, I think the secret here is economic development, not raising any taxes. Get on the disposal and disposal fee. I'm in a dilemma here. We have to handle our waste. I mean, it's just not going to go away. And like you said, everybody pays your taxes, but if you start dropping the fee or cutting the fee, then you got it out of the general budget, and there's just not enough money. That budget's tight, folks, and I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but right now it's really tough. Whoever gets elected of all of us here's got some tough choices. So I think the disposal fee, we've got to have that landfill. So I'm not going to make a comment on that, other than I'd like to see the budgets and things like that if I'm elected. So I'll kind of stay neutral on that one. But I do believe the economic development is truly the answer to our problem on that.
First of all, the landfill is a losing proposition. There's no easy way to manage a landfill. It's just one of those things that you have to bear in the front. I've made some proposals in the last 4 years to fix this, but it would take 30 minutes to explain it, and I don't know if it work or not. It's just an idea. It all boils back down to economic development. We've got to have these businesses, retail businesses. Retail businesses really means they're more important to us than sales tax, and that's gonna up your revenue for the county. I think that, I don't like to call it a tax, but if you use something, you ought to pay for it. And, that's something that we need to look and see what's involved, to see if it's feasible to do this, as far as the rafting is concerned. Back to the garbage, it's a situation where, we need to do more recycling, and we probably need to have someone to handle this recycling. That's another thing I thought about. Evidently, it costs a lot of money to do the recyclables to get rid of. And right now, it costs $100 to transport this garbage to Tennessee, $100 a ton. And we do need to revamp our garbage system. That's something that I've been working on and trying to get something done for 4 years, and it's an always solution. I'll admit that.
I agree basically with what everybody else has said. However, I would start from a different point. I would like to see our government run very efficiently. I hear people say that we waste a lot of money. We need to get some people to come in here and take a look at all of our departments and make sure we are spending our money wisely. And if we're not, we can take corrective action. The landfill fee is a problem for me, but, I've looked around and asked a lot of questions, and everybody wants to know why our landfill fee is so high. I want to know why is it so high as well. Yancey County has a landfill problem. They charge half of what we charge. I don't know why, and I can't get the answer. But we need to look at that department and make sure it's been run very efficiently and do what we have to do to get that tax down, period. And once we make that commitment, we can bring it down.
One of the ways that I think that with the county could raise some money would be to sell some of the county-owned properties, and if somebody buys them, then they'll go back on the tax, back in the tax base. And we have quite a few, as I understand. And I really don't know if we're supposed to make money on them or just get our tax money back, but we certainly get them back out in circulation. The other thing about the landfill, the less you put in it, the less it's going to cost, and so the recycling is probably the big thing that would make a big difference in the landfill. And I hate recycling, and I don't really know anybody that does like it, but if we could figure out a way, to make it something that you want to do. I think we had a committee appointed, or a board, a recycling committee at one point in time, but I never did hear what the result of that was. What was the other thing we were supposed to? The rafting tax. I'm kind of like Jesse. They bring a lot of people to this county. While they're here, they eat and spend the night and go down to Hot Springs and go to all the little shops and stuff. So I don't know if we should do that. I'd have to think about that. But my first reaction is that I would not necessarily be for it.
Mr. Rice, the next question, to lead off this go-round. There are 4 questions related to how, as a commissioner, you would improve our county schools with specifics, noting that we're currently 93rd in local funding for our public schools. There is, and let me put this in here so we can group some of these questions. There was one specific question: if the high school auditorium was up for a vote again, would you be for or against it? So how would you improve our public schools in Madison County? And on the specific question of the high school auditorium, would you be for it or against it?
Thank you. That was a 4-minute question, and 1 2 minute Folks, the problem with our schools is not locally. If you're a Madison County resident, it's not locally if you're a Washington County resident. The place we gotta start is just about 5 hours east of here. If you run down 40 for a pretty good ways, you'll run into a little town called Raleigh, North Carolina, where we all send some people down there to make decisions for us. And sometimes they make good decisions, and sometimes they make bad decisions. And I'm not talking about one party here. I'm talking about, I've served through all of them. My wife's been teaching 28 years, started her 29th. We've been through all kinds of administrations. And teachers are really the last ones on the list to get noticed, but they're the first ones to be asked to step up and take responsibility and to do the right thing. That is just so wrong. That is just so wrong. And it doesn't, you know, we need to take the politics totally out of this. I don't care if Democrats are in control or the Republicans are in control. We've had both groups down there. As far as I'm concerned, we've missed the vote most every time. If we hadn't missed the vote, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in tonight with our schools and in the situation we're in. The auditorium question, I would not be in favor of that. And the reason I would not be in favor of that is because it was a lot of money, and it was nothing against the arts whatsoever. It was a lot of money that didn't benefit a whole lot of students. And my fear would be that if the 4042 money did not come through, then that would have to be sent out and paid for by our taxpayers. And I just don't see how we could ask them to step up and pay any more on that.
Mr. Singh.
I'm not an educator, so that's not my field of specialty, and I would have to have a lot more information to be able to expound on it right here at the point in time. But it would seem to me that the problems with education are more far-reaching than just an easy answer. And what I'm saying, I think we have a societal problem here. I think education begins at home. And I think there's where the teachers run into problems. They're having to discipline children and teach them things that should be learned at home. And therein lies a lot of our root problem. I think we've got to make the people aware, to make them aware so that their children understand the importance of education, securing jobs, and living in a harmonious society. So beyond that, I would want to look at the dropout rate and see how we can make school and make the children aware of how valuable education is so that they would knuckle down and study and be productive citizens. I'd like, if I'm elected, to look at the budget and see if I can specifically iron out some different things, talk to the school officials, but not having that background in my field of endeavor, I'm a little in the dark here, but those are my ideas.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, the question is how might, as a commissioner, improve the county schools, and would you support the high school auditorium?
You've got about 30 minutes. It's hard to do this. There's so many things I like to do.
First of all, we need more money for education. I'll be the first to agree to that. And that all boils down to what we talked about, economic development. That's the money for us. We've got to have businesses to bring more money, sales tax into this county. One thing that we're doing, and one of the accomplishments is collection of delinquent taxes. So far, we've collected over $1 million, and we've got another $1 million to collect in delinquent taxes. This is the first time that this has been pursued in years, and I'm proud of that. And I think people ought to pay their taxes, and if we can get this extra money coming in and up our sales, property tax collections for the county, then that's a big step toward having more money for education. We haven't approved as much money as we would like to, but it boils down to either raising taxes or, I could talk 10 minutes. I'm slow, and I'd like to talk more about the the tax rates in these other counties that's around us is, Avery's 40%, 40 cents, Mitchell's about 45. They're all lower than we are, and I'm not for raising our taxes, but it all boils down to economic development, and we need more of that, and we need to cut the delinquent taxes, and that's one thing that's happening at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cantrell?
Everybody keeps talking about economic development. Well, that's a long way off. That is not going to solve our school problem. The problem is money. And we have to start with the school system to make sure they're running a very efficient, lean machine. And if they are, then the county commissioners are going to have to find some other resources to get the schools up to speed. We've got to have a real good school system. We've got to fund the 4-year-old program. And we've got to recognize our teachers. So it's a matter of taking an overall approach to our budget. We've got $21 million. We've got all kinds of departments. We have to take a long, hard look at our total budget, our total departments, and see where we can come up with the money to fund education. We need to fund education now, not next week, not 10 years from now. Economic development is a 5 to 10 year program. I know that to be a fact. That's just the way it is. The oratory? No.
The first thing that I would, I don't know how we got sideways with the Board of Education, but apparently we have, Lori, and the only thing I can tell you is that I certainly have an open mind, and I would work hard to develop the trust between the Board of Education and the Board of County Commissioners, and because we all have the same goals and we all want the same good. The other thing I would do is and I'm going to get in trouble for this, they built a nice building up there for the carpentry students, and somehow or another that turned into a weight room, and they moved them out into a little place, and you know, I'd like to see them have their building back, and I would like to see that whole technical program. You know, the people that have been working on that, Norris used to be one of them, Carolyn Franklin, you know, they work hard, and we need to, as a board, be a better advocate for them, because we see evidence of their work all the time. And the other thing, I was in a meeting this week with Dr. John Huff and Dr. Olson Huff, and they told us about a new study that's coming out, that if we don't have our children reading by the time they're in the 3rd grade, by the 3rd grade level, the children that can't read are the kids that can't get a good job. They're the kids that end up in jail. They're the kids that end up on public assistance. And that if ever a community wanted to do something to make life better in the future, is to be sure that your 3rd graders leave the 3rd grade being able to read. And the whole Smart Start program and their book program, you're going to be hearing about it, because we're going to be hitting you up for some donations that I know you'll be glad to give, and it's I think that's the biggest thing that we could do as a community, is make sure that when you leave the 3rd grade that you can read, and it'll make a big, big difference out there in the future. And I had 2 or 3 other things I wanted to say, but I'll let you say.
Thank you. We have to work together, folks. Board of County Commissioners, the school board, all of us. Nobody questions the fact that a good educational system in Madison County, all the way through, is in the best interest of this community. It's how we do that. And we do, Pat, as you well said, we need to rebuild those relationships. The best way that we do that is to develop a comprehensive and well thought out plan on where we want to be with our school system, with AV Tech, in that next 20-year time frame. And it is a 30-minute bill.